I'm Angela Everitt. I'm SVP of Creative Strategy and Agency Solutions at The Economist Group. So I was invited to participate in a panel called What the Fuck is Content? So you can't say no to an invitation like that, can you? So it was all about kind of examining, what content really is, what it means, its uses, how it's evolved over time. We really covered a kind of very broad remit, broad scope of conversation, but it was fascinating. I think there are perennial themes. When you're talking about content, there are things that come up all the time. It's how to reach an audience and it's return on investment. And they come up all the time because they're the two hardest things to do. Like even with the platforms we have at our disposal, or even with the kind of all the tools that we have, like truly reaching an audience is tricky. That's because there are a ton of devices, there are a ton of platforms, everyone's attention is split across a lot of things. And what I was glad to hear and what we got into was the role of creativity in all this, because I think, when you get hung up on metrics, I gave Darren from Facebook a bit of a hard time about algorithms, but once you start going into the road of let's see what the metrics tell us to do, let's see that's the best way to target an audience. For me, you're in territory where then creativity comes second, which is a dangerous place to be. So yeah, we kind of touched upon that, which I thought was really interesting. Don't get me wrong, platforms like Facebook, Insta, all the social media channels, they have been a massive boon for brands. We can get in front of audiences like never before, and we can use their insight and expertise to be platform appropriate. But yeah, I think it kind of just always circles back to me around, how are we coming up with fresh ideas? If we kind of just do what we think the platforms want, or just because short form is king, does that mean we shouldn't ever experiment with something more longer form to see if that lands? It's for marketers whose budgets are shrinking. I understand the pressure, I really do, but you've got to balance those things. I think you've got to balance what the platforms allow you to do with then not losing sight of ideas and creativity. It's always an opportunity to learn, I love to hear different points of view. I love to be next to people who I might not agree with. But for me, it's a massive learning, working, or sitting alongside people that work for consumer brands or work in a B2C space, because predominantly I play in a B2B world. There's always stuff to learn from that, really digging into an audience, the kind of different things people are doing now, like Ogilvy are doing in terms of, psychometrics and emotions and what drives people. That's fascinating. And I love hearing about that, because then I can take away and apply some of it, hopefully, to what I do in the B2B space. Wow, there are so many. I think just staying relevant. And when I answered the question about sort of what I thought the future held, I think for brands, we're seeing sort of a trend around purpose, and brand purpose isn't new. People talk about that a lot, but it's that idea of having a social purpose, actually contributing to well-being. And you can do that and still make money, but it's the brands who are able to negotiate that, to actually have a point of view that's authentic. But treading that, it's really difficult to do that in a sort of authentic way without, looking like Pepsi and Kendall Jenner. So, I think that's where the future is, brands to position themselves in that way. I think that's an interesting challenge. Who knows? I don't think anyone knows, do they? I think people, savvy brands they've prepared. But yeah, I just, wish we could all stop talking about it. I'm just really hopeful that creativity will remain at the forefront. And it has to, because there's no other way to reach an audience and do good with a lower budget. yeah, I think I'm excited. I think that creativity and quality will continue to rise.